watching MontyTV. I'm Jackie Karsh, sitting down now with Roger Premo. He's IBM's General Manager of Strategy and Corporate Development. Roger, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thanks for having me.
What is IBM's hybrid cloud, and why is that increasing the value for IBM's strategy as they move forward?
It really is this reality that while a lot of technology innovation used to think it was going to live on a single public cloud, technology runs in a range of different locations, and you have to have a common way to innovate across those locations, if it's a data center, a cloud, an edge location. And so that's why we acquired Red Hat. It's an open source software platform that allows that technology innovation to be done rapidly and operate in the same way, regardless of where it happens to run. And we've proven with our clients that that's a better way to transform their businesses digitally than the complexity of innovating in a different way in each distinct technology environment.
Why go with the hybrid cloud, though, as opposed to any of the other private or multi-cloud?
It is meant to be a strategy that's compatible with that. So if you have to run your business on a public cloud, or it's in China on top of a Chinese cloud, or it's a data center because you're in a regulated industry, we want to say that you can innovate on this platform regardless of where you run. So it's compatible with all those strategies of public clouds, private clouds, et cetera, but it gives you a common way to innovate. And what's really interesting, obviously Red Hat comes from an open source heritage. So open source has gotten to this point now where there are millions of developers contributing to it. So you're harnessing the innovation that comes from that community of millions of developers on top of those different environments.
How is IBM approaching artificial intelligence and the intersection with the hybrid cloud?
So I'd answer it in two ways. I'd say first, a lot of the things that got in the way of public cloud strategies for technology that led to a hybrid strategy are also happening in the data space. So if moving all of your data to one location, one cloud, one vendor is a prerequisite to apply artificial intelligence in your business, that's likely going to end up being impractical. So we take what we call a data fabric strategy, which is moving data when it's needed, but accessing data in a distributed way across all the places that your business generates data, to put it to work for artificial intelligence, but also to put it to work for just basic business analytics. And most data inside an enterprise right now is dark from a business insights perspective because it's not put to work. So we kind of take a similar metaphor to the hybrid cloud and apply it to data to make sure that we're putting as much of the data inside an enterprise to work for value. And then if we think about where you apply AI, we're trying to apply it across the business. So if you look at a great example is what we're doing with McDonald's and some of the work with McDonald's Tech Labs, where we're part of the voice recognition that is going into drive-thrus across the country. And as you deal with worker scarcity, that AI-driven drive-thru, they're definitely showing up to work in the morning, whereas the rest of the staff, may be at a different status depending on labor and rates and wages these days.
The arsenal that you have at your disposal for venture, where are you investing?
So it's a great question. So we've actually changed our corporate venture capital practices over the course of the last 9 months. So I'd say, IBM Ventures is open for business, but it really is to be a strategic investor in the spaces that are part of our strategy. So if it is the hybrid cloud, if it is data and AI, if it's process automation like the McDonald's example, cybersecurity, and then last to round it out is around sustainability technology and how we better visualize carbon as a prerequisite to start attacking that problem for the world. Those are the themes that we invest in, and we'll continue to both partner with a lot of startups that are in those spaces, but then look to partner more deeply as they can leverage the capabilities of IBM to help bring them to market, integrate with different technologies. So we think that we're both a good investor, but in the future, a good partner to help some of these businesses weather some of the storms ahead as the economy continues to have its ups and downs.
What does IBM look for in a venture opportunity?
First, it has to be close to one of those strategic themes I talked about. So it's a place that we have some expertise that we can bring to the company. We'd have an advantaged way to evaluate whether or not that company is going to win in its space. And then we've got something to offer that company as a future partner, a technology partner or go-to-market partner. So that's our criteria. We tend to be not a lead investor. We tend to ride along with other investors, and we tend to look at companies that have established product market fit and are starting to demonstrate unit economics. So we're not going to be the first angel in, pre-product, but we see it as interesting either for places that relate to our strategy or for our end clients. We're interested in talking to them.
Has the pandemic shifted the focus?
think the main thing that we've seen is an acceleration of a lot of those trends. So I talked about automation, right? Labor scarcity, wage rates. So the pressure on things like, we used to look at IT-driven automation as a way for businesses to drive some efficiency. Now it really is that difference between the lights are on or the lights are off. It's the automation taking care of the labor scarcity problem. And similarly, I just mentioned sustainability briefly, but I think we've also seen a lot of people reflect during this pandemic. So the role of the private sector in really advancing sustainability, and we've built and acquired to help build some of the data foundation platform to help ourselves as our customer zero, but our clients as well, start understanding their carbon impact so that they can then take action against it. So a lot of the themes remain, but I think we've seen a lot of them just accelerate, either driven directly by the pandemic or some of the collective step back. I think the whole world's taken over the past couple of years as they reevaluate where we're headed, because obviously it's a very different world than it was a couple of years ago.